Hello, everybody. How you doing today? This is Cover Four with the guys. I'm your host today. I'm Marquise. Terrence isn't with us tonight. The family is feeling a little under the weather, so hopefully, we wish them the best. They start feeling better. I got a special guest here with us tonight. It's my friend since I say like high school. We've been around. He's known me for a
Wow,
minute. Yeah, he's known me for a while. I have my friend Chuck. How you doing, Chuck?
man, I'm living. I'm living. How you guys doing?
Uh,
Glad to be on. Thank you for having me. It should be a lot of fun. Been wanting to do this for a while, so
yeah, it's
let's do
definitely
it.
enjoyable. Chuck is a Bengal at heart. He got the Burrow behind him. I like
Grew
Joey.
up New England, and then I just got into sports betting, and then Burrow coming out of LSU, Chase coming out of LSU, especially. But Burrow, wherever he went, it was basically like I was going to be a fan. So
Okay, that's the only pass I give you because I like Burrow and I like Chase, so it's like okay, like
yeah, I
I
wouldn't call
like
myself like a
them.
real fan though, necessarily, because I didn't
You just
grow up
following
on him.
him.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, it's kind of like when people are NBA fans, but it's hard in the NBA because you're like, bro, I just really like this player, so I'm just gonna follow this player like
Yep.
where he goes.
Yep. My friends give me shit for it all the time. I pick a player like every couple of years and just ride them for
For like their
however
prime,
long.
what they got going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel it. I feel it. All right, so let's get this started. We got the first quarter. It's been an
Sure.
interesting week in the NFL. We made it early before Black Friday. People started to get Black Monday. People started getting fired. We had Brian Flores
Like
get fired.
7 coaches or something like that.
Yeah, and if you count Gruden from the start, you've had a lot. If you add like from the start, so we had Brian Flores from the Dolphins. He got fired. Matt Nagy, as expected, he was let go. Mike Zimmerman from the Vikes was fired. Vic Fangio from the Broncos was fired. Out of all these, Chuck, who was surprising to you?
Really, it's obvious with Brian Flores. I mean, he won what 8 of the last 9 games.
8-1.
Uh yeah, 8-1 in the last 9 games. From all accounts, from what it seems like, a lot of the players respected him as a coach. And
And he
I mean,
beat
he's doing that with Tua and not a whole lot of weapons on offense. I feel like there something had to give there. I mean, from the reports I was seeing, it's between the GM and him. That was where the problems were. So I mean, to fire the guy that just took your team to go 8-1 to end the season, questionable in my opinion.
Yeah, I think it was because the GM believed in Tua, and then uh Brian was kind of like not like he doesn't, but
Yeah,
like I can't really work with him, like because Tua does need some development. It's not a bad
for
thing, but
sure.
you got to think Brian just developed that whole defense because that defense was not great. Like he just got them all rolling. He beat Belichick twice this year. Like I don't see why you fire. I would give him another year. Like even if you wanted to fire him,
100%.
I'd be like, you know what, you got the defense rolling. We're 8-1. Like, let's give it one more year and see how it rolls out. But unfortunately, they fired him. I knew Matt Nagy was obvious.
Yeah, that one he should have been fired mid-season. He should have been fired last season. I don't know
Mid,
how that dude.
they fired the GM
But
too, I think. GM's
yeah,
out.
yep,
So he's
clean
out.
sweep.
Same
Vikings got rid of their
same
GM
thing.
too, right? Or
And which was crazy because the GM for the Bikes is well respected.
he's
They
been
wrote,
drafting well.
yeah, they rode the wave of having him and Zimmerman together. I thought Zimmerman would have been fired probably like 2 years ago, and he
Yeah.
didn't. Vic Fangio, I feel like that was obvious. Like he built the defense. Defense is great, but like you have to
Mm-hmm.
construct something on offense because they have a lot of talent. But the only problem is they don't do good at drafting quarterbacks, and for some awkward reason, they can't land a quarterback.
In my opinion, I think it has to do a lot with Fangio's play calling. Like just watching Broncos games the whole year, every game there was like 5 plays that I'm just in there and I'm like, what are you doing, man? And
Yeah, like why
obviously,
did you call this
Teddy
play?
gets hurt, and that's tough for them. They've had terrible luck at quarterback, but at some point you got to stop calling it luck, and it's like you can't scout quarterbacks or you can't sign quarterbacks for whatever you
Or you
just don't.
can't develop somebody either because you got to think.
Yeah,
I feel like Drew Lock has a lot of talent, and I don't think
for sure.
he would be great. But I feel like with all those weapons in the defense, he could be pretty good in that system. He should be able to
Dude,
be pretty good.
and what's crazy too is Fangio, again, another one of those guys, very respected around the league and all that stuff. And there were so many rumors about possibly getting Aaron Rodgers in the offseason and all this stuff. And then news just came out about an hour ago as of recording this. The team's getting sold this offseason. So we're going into next year for the Broncos with a new everything except for, I guess, John Lynch will be the only one that stays there.
I wonder if they would look
So,
into see to me, they shouldn't have a yard sale. Like a team like Minnesota should start selling players. Like, hey,
yeah,
give me some draft capital.
Kirk,
Yeah,
yeah,
like they can't trade Kirk because of the contract, I'd keep Justin Jefferson, but everybody else other than Justin Jefferson and whatever pieces you have on that offensive line that are good, which is I think they drafted a rookie left tackle last year, so I think he's a 1 year in. I would trade everybody else. Like I'd send Thielen, I send Kendricks, which is
that's another problem with we were talking about right before we started recording. Thielen, another guy that got hurt on a bad injury, and it's like,
yeah, and he's good.
What do you do with him now?
Look at him in the red zone, touchdowns. He's
touchdown machine, touchdown machine.
And his separation, you look at him. I feel like if they trade him, Kendricks, probably Danielle Hunter, because I think you're gonna have to move off of him. Like people are gonna give you picks for them. And then next year you can release Kirk Cousins because you can't trade him this year.
And honestly, I would look into seeing what you can get for Dalvin Cook. I mean, you saw D-Hop get traded for David Johnson and a bag of balls 2 off seasons ago. Talk about ruining a franchise. It just, you never know what a team's willing to give you for a running back like that. So
if I was the Ravens, bro, I'd give you a first and a third for Dalvin Cook right now. And if you threw Adam Thielen there, I'd give you 2 firsts, a third, and probably like a fourth. If you gave both of them, I'd take it right now.
The Ravens are a receiver away. I've been like 2 years straight. It feels like receiver away. I mean, I know Hollywood's, big play guy, but I don't think he's a wide receiver 1.
We won't get to the good old Ravens recap.
Yeah. And then on the coaches again, we were saying who's the most surprising fire, Brian Flores, but the most surprising person who stayed is how is Joe Judge still in New York?
No, I think they got judges out.
Was that confirmed? Because I know the GM got fired and then they said, he retired.
Yeah.
And then they said that so Joe Judge was supposed to pick the new GM and then the new GM was going to decide if they wanted to keep Joe Judge or not, which made no sense.
How you going to pick the GM and then you're going to decide if you.
But that was immediately, I might have missed it, but.
Wow.
As of earlier, I know he was still there. He's gone?
He's gone.
Okay, thank God. Okay, that's the least surprising fire other than Nagy, in my opinion. The quarterback sneak on 3rd and 9 in a game that means nothing.
Yeah, it was definitely a head scratcher. He got fired probably because of that weird play call.
Ton of them.
Yeah, so moving on from the coaches, it's been a wild time. I'm pretty sure it's going to be even more wild as the summer hits. People start getting jobs. Eric Bieniemy. Yeah, thank you
for the Chiefs.
The guys know I can't say any names, but yeah, somebody just the Broncos just requested to interview him.
He's going to be a huge hire out there for sure. Someone's going to get really lucky with him. And then I know both the Cowboys coordinators really getting recruited everywhere.
Byron's getting recruited from Tampa,
and Bowles, which is surprising to me because I feel like
I think he's where he needs to be. He's a defensive coordinator.
That's how I feel about Dan Quinn too. I don't think Dan Quinn for the Cowboys, I don't think he has any business coaching a team again.
I don't think he does. And I think Vic Fangio is definitely a defensive coordinator. Like if we didn't have Wink Martindale, I would go get Vic Fangio so quick. Between Vic Fangio and Brian Flores, if they just wanted to be a defensive coordinator, I'd be like, yo, come to Baltimore. But who knows what that brings. We got to move it on to Mike Evans, Mr. 1K again. I got to give him a big shout out. This is his 8th consecutive year. It's highly insane. Mike Evans, he's the Bucs all-time leader with 75 touchdowns and 9,301 yards. And it's counting because he's not retiring. He's only 31. He's still going. I don't even think he's 31. I think he's a little younger. He's the best receiver in franchise history easily. He's a top 10 wideout currently in the league. And he's currently 2nd in the receiving touchdowns this year. I say he's a top 10 wideout currently in the league because I don't think he's top 5. A lot of people argue with me.
Definitely not top 5.
He's not top 5 because
definitely not top 5.
He benefits because he's so big, he's so fast, and he's physical from just running the same route tree pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
And he's always had someone that can get him the ball. Like people are like,
and he's never gonna be double covered either. That team has too many weapons. He's gonna get single coverage everywhere.
Yeah. I mean, early on he was seeing doubles, but not really because they had Vincent Jackson.
Yeah.
So rest in peace to him.
I mean, that was a crazy story.
Yeah, that was crazy. But I have him. He's just outside the top 5, but when you look at dudes that can run better routes, they have better hands. That's the thing. He's dropped 5 passes so far this season.
When you said top 10, I like my face. I was kind of like, I don't even know if he's top 10. I mean,
I'm not going to discredit him, but I have him barely in the 10 and maybe hinging on the 5 at times because to me, It depends on how you group it. This is what me, Nick, and Terrence were talking about. Do you group it off the year? Because if you group it off the year, obviously he's not top 5, right? But if you group it off longevity, he's the best receiver in his draft class. The only person that gives him competition is Devontae Adams, but Devontae Adams didn't boom right away. And the only other person that could even like compare with him is Odell, but Odell went to Cleveland and the injuries. So if he gets in a better situation, then probably, Odell's probably better than him. In all,
dude, he's had a good couple weeks to end the season too.
Exactly.
What was it? 4 out of 5 games in a row with a touchdown.
Yeah, almost as much touchdowns he had in Cleveland. So that's good for him. But we had to give a big shout out, Tampa fans. You do got your receiver one easily with Mike Evans. So moving forward, we got the Jags stun the Colts. I don't know how this happened and we didn't win the game so we could help on our end, and the Jags somehow helped us. But the Jags beat the Colts, eliminating them from even getting to the playoffs. Do you feel like this is catastrophic for the Colts? And do you feel as if Wentz is the problem?
Yes and yes. I think, number one, I think Wentz is a bottom 5 quarterback in the NFL. I've been harping on that since 2018. 2017 was the year that he had this supposed MVP year. I think the dude's a bum. He's a bum. There's so many clips that you can find of him missing open receivers, throwing terrible picks. It just making bad reads. He likes to bring the ball down and start scrambling, but he can't run. He fumbles a ridiculous amount. I can't remember the stat I looked at last season, but he had more fumbles than the next closest quarterback had in picks or something like that. It was a ridiculous stat. And just the frequency that this guy costs his team is insane. And then also it's a problem because Frank Reich, head coach over there, is the guy who brought him in. He vouched for him. He was with him at North Dakota. They have that crazy connection, all that stuff. And how do you trust a guy who just gave up a first for a bona fide bum?
Yeah, because he played more than, what was it, like 50% of the snaps he had to play?
80. He had to play 80% of the snaps, and he got over that. And at what point do you just see that play for you? What do you think? At what point do you see how Carson Wentz plays and you just bench him before he hits 80% of the season? Because it's like, okay, this guy stinks.
I think the problem with that is that they were getting into the playoffs, So it's like, okay, well,
yeah.
And early on, I was on the Wentz train early on because he wasn't turning over the ball yet. He was playing really good. It was up until, I want to say, that Tampa game. That Tampa game showed a Ted. Like, he was playing real good, had like low-key MVP numbers, like was having a good season. And then that Tampa game, when he threw the game away, because you got to think they were up 20 to something at half. And it was essentially like, okay, well, we can run the ball, just play action them, and then we'll get up out of here. Next thing you know, he starts throwing interceptions. I'm like, dude, what?
Especially to miss the playoffs with that defense. They had 7 Pro Bowlers. They're the first team in NFL history to have more than 5 Pro Bowlers and not make the playoffs.
You know what's crazy about that? I always bring up like the Ravens shit in the bed in 19, right? But at least they it happened in the playoffs with that many Pro Bowls.
You got to get there.
They got to the dance, And that's what I like. I look at Cincy. I'm like, okay, well, I hope it doesn't happen to them, And same with like Green Bay in turn, because they're gonna have their coach Matt LaFleur. Like, well, what do I do with the guys? And luckily, he didn't sit them because he was like, well, I don't want to sit them because they're gonna have this weird time frame where they're not gonna be playing for a while. So we had that going on. But I think if you're the Colts, I think you gotta ride with Wentz. Bro, I don't know who you bring in to help him, but he cannot play how he's been playing. Like, Frank Reich can help, and you need like a QB guru, whoever you can find to pair. Because I do think Wentz has insane talent. He does have insane talent. I think
it's gone.
I don't think
he has it.
I don't think it's gone. I think the decision making is screwing. Like I think he starts feeling himself too much, and he's like, just stay, get in the rhythm, And maybe at one point they'll need you to play like that, but they didn't need you to do that at all so far. Like, you didn't have to do it, and that team's really good. It wasn't like Jonathan Taylor's kind of a bum. The defense is terrible. No, like it's a solid unit all the way around. Like,
you have a clear wide receiver 1 in Michael Pittman. You have 2 tight ends that are both serviceable. Mo Alley Cox, Jack Doyle. They're both big bodies. Line.
Jack Doyle's
for sure.
Jack Doyle is horrible. We don't like him on the podcast. He shoved Tavon Austin when he played the Colts. The Colts played the Ravens. Tavon Austin tackled him, and then he shoved Tavon Austin's head into the ground while we got a penalty because Tavon got up and pushed him. It was a bonehead play because Tavon pushed him, and obviously they saw Tavon.
Okay, so big Jack Doyle haters around here.
Yeah, I don't know why I said Tavon Austin. It's Tavon Young. I'm tripping. Okay. But yes, we're big Jack Doyle haters. He needs to get
Okay.
at least taken
All
out.
right, never mind. Screw that dude then.
Yeah,
But other than that, the Colts got every position on that team is ready to go.
Big shout out to Kellen Moore, the second. Oh my god, that's probably the best slot corner you could have in football. Like he is.
Oh, Kenny Moore, dude. He came on the. I never really heard of him. He came on McAfee's show. He was the most humble dude ever. He seemed so cool.
He just does his business. Goes about his day.
Yeah, he seems so cool. I hope he gets paid. I hope they pay that man because he is locked down.
They're gonna have to, I think they're have to like restructure his deal to pay him more, and then they got to pay Darius Leonard. Then I think he got the bag, or he's about to get the bag, and then they got.
I think he got his this year, this last offseason. I'm pretty sure.
So it's Quentin Nelson. I think it's the only person left.
Yeah.
So you got
that team is primed for a run. I think. I mean, so I looked it up earlier. He's on a 4-year, $128 million deal and owed 28.7 this coming year, and it's 15 mil dead cap if you trade him or cut him. So you're stuck with him for sure. You're not paying 15 million for a guy not to play.
You can't trade him this year, and you can't move off of him because there's nothing in the draft. So low key,
that's the problem.
You did help Philly, but Philly wasn't going to draft a quarterback anyway, or at least I hope they wouldn't have with the pick got from you. So you helped them get an offensive lineman or someone on defense, and now you're kind of screwed because there's not going to be any there's not a quarterback in the draft. And then any quarterback that becomes available, you can't even get in that sweepstakes because Jimmy G's gonna be the only one that's a surefire free agent. He's not even a free agent. So you got to put in a trade for Jimmy.
I'm certainly not doing that. Not a chance I'm doing that. You could be stuck in the same situation as Wentz. I mean, Jimmy G's better than Carson Wentz for sure. For sure. But not he's not in the tier that you're looking to give up a first or, first and a third or second.
Like, yes, we're going to give up another first. And then we're stuck with the same person. It's
crazy to me.
Yeah. So
the quarterback situation in the NFL right now is wild, especially the Colts. I could see them. Luckily for them, I guess there's no stud quarterbacks this year. That's not really lucky, but someone could fall to them. They could get a Kenny Pickett. Maybe they could get a Malik Willis. Both of those guys are probably going to drop a little bit.
I don't even think you can get Kenny Pickett because I feel like when you pick, they're going to pick in the second?
Because they gave up their first.
Pickett's not falling to second.
Never mind. Yeah.
You got to think
they're stuck with Carson.
Even those teams that are bad, that are okay, well, we're not going to draft Pickett because we're going to get the Deshaun Watson sweepstakes or maybe the Russell Wilson sweepstakes. A team that say he falls, and then a team what if I'm trying to think. Maybe Tampa is okay, well, we could take Pickett, because maybe they're all right, trash isn't it. They want, and they're all right, well, we'll take Pickett. They can battle it out, and we'll see who can go there. Or a team like the Steelers, they're yo, we're gonna take Pickett because nobody else needs him. Maybe we trade up a little bit to get him, and then you have something like that happen, which I wouldn't be too shocked at happening. So
I would love to see Pickett in Pittsburgh. I think it would be a cool situation for him.
I think it would fit him. Not as a Baltimore fan, I don't want to see it, but I feel like he would fit for them.
Yeah.
It'd be a nice situation to have since they don't really believe in Haskins.
And then the last stat on that Wentz thing for if it's his fault or not on that Jags game. So QBR goes up to 100. A mediocre game is a 50. And he put up a 4.4 QBR in an elimination game versus the worst team in football. The dude stinks.
Yeah, if you ask me on Madden, I'm cutting him, but that's Madden.
Yeah. 100%. If I'm running a Colts franchise on Madden, I'm putting in Sam Ehlinger right now. Texas kid, he can ball.
Or I'm trading for Kellen Mond since Minnesota doesn't want to use him.
That blew my mind.
I don't know what we got going on in Minnesota to let the old.
I don't even remember that dude's name who was playing, but I remember sitting there watching, and I'm like, "Where's Kellen Mond?" No one remember. He could have won the Heisman last year. No one.
And he's good.
Yeah, it makes no sense to me. What?
Yeah, so it's crazy seeing the Jags spin. We got the Eagles. They are flying high. This is something me and Terrence were talking about. They're rolling. Interesting stat on Philly. Philly is leading the league in rushing, which is kind of insane because Miles Sanders been in and out, and I don't know, that's kind of
Austin Scott. Then I get Kenneth Gainwell.
Yeah,
guy converted from wide receiver coming over there and playing.
Yeah, they got that going on. So he's leading the league in rushing. But the problem is they're about to face the league's third best rush defense in Tampa in the first week of the playoffs. I don't know if they'll upset Tampa, this is something we'll have to talk about later on, like towards the fourth quarter segment. But it shall be interesting to see, just laying it out there, if Philly is leading the league in rushing. So that if you're an Eagles fan, fly high, and you get a top number one pick because it wins. So way to go, Philly. Moving on to the halftime segment. All right, this is what we got to talk about. As much as I don't want to talk about it, it's time to talk about them. Obviously, the Ravens did not make the playoffs. I had a bet with my good friend Blake about the Ravens or the Steelers making the playoffs. Whoever made it, other person had to come up off $20. I already sent Blake.
Oh.
I sent Blake the money as soon as we lost. I think I was like, "Yep, here's your cash." So, I don't know what this team can do going into next year, other than obviously get healthy. But we do need an interior edge rusher. We need a corner badly, and we need a receiver. And we need a lineman. There's a lot. There's the ultimate need, though, is either left or right tackle, a defender like a corner or a safety that can play the ball and catch and make receptions.
Especially coming off all those injuries for sure.
Yes. Maybe I won't say receiver, but we damn sure need a linebacker or a pass rusher, So I'll leave the receiver topic alone just for now. I know a receiver would help. Because I was like, about Sammy. I thought Sammy was okay, but I still, like, even when they brought Sammy, I said they need to get someone else. Didn't do it. They need a new scheme fit because Lamar needs someone that's going to help him develop his passing game even more. I feel like you've seen through week, it was 1 through 7, where he was playing at an MVP level. Like he was at one point top 6 or in the top 6 at MVP odds. So that lets you know, like, okay, like he's developed. He's the only reason why in Baltimore we win games. You don't need to see how more,
he's definitely your guy.
Exactly. You don't need to see how more evident that was. Tyler Huntley won 1 game against the Bears. We lost out all those other games. Granted, there's bad play calling, but there's been bad decision making on Tyler Huntley. And people are trying to say, okay, well, let's pay Huntley and trade Lamar. What? I think people forget.
That's crazy.
People forget what he does for that franchise. And people also forget he saved John Harbaugh's job. John was out the door before they were about to draft Lamar. Like, I was betting on him getting fired. And then they drafted Lamar, and you saw what happened. And they have a great relationship. But I think it's time to look at the offensive coordinator. We all know Greg Roman. It's the same play calling. Steve Smith even called him out on it. Defense, I like Wink Martindale a lot. I wouldn't really get rid of him. I would just if I was John, I'd tell him, like, yo, you cannot bring the house on obvious situations because every team's betting on you doing it. And they just run slants or underneath routes or little curl routes because they know you're sending everybody. But it's weird. Yeah, it's weird. There's the two sides of that. Sometimes it literally works. It awkwardly works because how the blitz is disguised. But then as of late and this year, you've seen where, no, it's not working. Like teams are like, oh, well, we know you're bringing everybody. I'm just going to dump the ball to my best receiver. And it's been quick. Another weird thing is people are talking about getting rid of Marcus Peters because his cap hit is going to be 15 mil, I think. I don't care if his cap mill was 22 million. I'm not getting rid of Marcus Peters.
No, he's CB1. He's CB1. He's top. He's probably top 5, maybe top 10. He's a guy at corner.
He's not CB1. I don't think he's necessarily a top 5 corner. I think he's the best number 2 you can have. Because I think
I think he's shut down in the right circumstances.
In the right situation, he's shut down. But the thing is, him and Marlo benefit from each other. Because I'm not gonna lie, Marlo be holding a lot. And I'm a big Raiders fan. I'm letting you know, Marlo be holding people because he gets physical with receivers. He holds a lot. But the thing is, the same way people are getting digs is the same way you can get Marcus Peters. You can hit him with a double move, or you can catch him where he's looking at the quarterback.
That's the thing with Marcus. He's a ball hawk.
Yeah.
And I think for me, if I'm building a team, and obviously I'm not a GM, so whatever. But I think if I'm picking my CB1, I want it to be a ball hawk because their wide receiver one's getting the ball. I would rather get burnt 5 times and get 1 pick than get burnt 3 times with no interceptions. I think that turnover production that he brings to your team, a guy like Marcus Peters or Trayvon Diggs, is invaluable.
It's next level because you got to think the system that Wink House is in. We generate so much pressure, but people aren't getting sacks.
It's a lot of man too, so you need guys that are going to be physical like that.
Physical, yeah. But the thing is, he runs that system, so you generate the pressure in turn that the quarterback makes a turnover. The problem is you only have one dude that catches the ball on defense and produces turnovers. it's a big problem to bet like, oh, well, you guys are just supposed to be getting picks. Yeah, you're right, but they don't pass the ball.
I think a guy like Sauce Gardner out of Cincy, I think that could be probably your best pick in the first. If he gets to you guys, that dude.
Oh, we're at 15 now, I think, because
he should be there at 15, I think.
But I think the only thing that hurts is because there's not quarterbacks available, so people are going defense. But a good thing is teams like Carolina, the Broncos that went corner are already deep at corner. Like if they draft another corner, it's ridiculous. So that's just how I feel on that. How do you feel about the Ravens? So
I feel like that's another team. I think they're 1-2 pieces away. Like you said, if they don't get the injury bug this year, they're very obviously a playoff team. And you put them up in any game, like we saw them when they played the Chiefs, they can win any game with the right players in the game. So I don't think they have a glaring problem. But for me, like we were talking about before, I think it's the wide receiver personally. I think if you could find a way to trade for a guy like Calvin Ridley, that's a Super Bowl team right there. Depending on what you give up for him, obviously, but
I send Atlanta whatever they want for Calvin Ridley.
100%.
You want a first, and I'm going to get Ridley? Here, take it.
Yeah, 100%. But I think you get Lamar, a legit wide receiver 1, and that team is no one wants to play them in any game.
And that's the other thing. People don't realize how big those injuries impacted him. Bro, he didn't have any of his running backs. His star left tackle didn't play. He played and then midway was like, I can't, and it's hard for big dudes to come back from the injury because there's so much weight, there's so many slight movements, so many little turns that they're making in the trenches where they're putting a lot of weight on that ankle or that knee where it's like, okay, I can't, I need more time. You saw David Bakhtiari for the Packers. He's just now getting ready to come back.
That's going to be huge for them too, coming in the playoffs.
Exactly. So he's coming back at the right time, but he wasn't ready at the start of the season, so you had that, receiver, I definitely see what you're saying there. I just don't know who they could get. Ridley would work, but we missed out on getting Nuke. We didn't get DeAndre Hopkins when the Texans were trading for him. I don't know why they didn't just offer a better pick, because if you told me we were going to get DeAndre Hopkins, here, take a better pick. You want one more? You want a better pick? We offered you a second. You want a first? Here, give me DeAndre Hopkins. Take it first.
That's one thing that I never understand with GMs in the NFL is it seems they're very hesitant to trade those number ones. And I understand because it's a first round pick and you can get these, generational players in the first round. But isn't trading a first round and getting a proven generational talent like a DeAndre Hopkins, if you call me and we're on the phone and it's like, hey, I want 2 ones. I want your next 2 ones for DeAndre Hopkins. And I'm a team like the Ravens and I'm a wide receiver away or, whatever, a wide receiver helps. It's like, why not give 2 ones? What's the worst? You're getting a crazy talented player. I don't get it.
I think what me and Nick talk about this, Nick would say it all the time. If I can trade a pick and get a talent right then and there, I'm going to essentially do it.
Look at the Rams. Look at the Rams.
I figured this out why the Rams do that. When you have a first round pick, right, you get the 5th year option. So you have to decide if you're going to take the 5th year option. Are you going to give them the 5th year option? But that's such a cap hit to give them the 5th year option because it's $20 million. So imagine, that's why the Rams are comfortable giving up these first. They're like, bro, we'll ship it. We scout good enough to get someone later in the round. We'll send the 5th or the first rounder to not have to worry about the 5th round option. And then
people want to keep coming there in free agency because you're building a destination where it's like, okay, I'm going to go play with Stafford, Kupp, Cam Akers, Aaron Donald,
Jalen Ramsey on the other side. Yeah. I think Baltimore it's time. They got to take a swing. It's also time to pay Lamar. I don't care what no fucking fan says.
There's people in the Ravens fan base that don't want to pay Lamar.
Yeah. There's people.
That's a common thing.
They're saying don't pay him. They're saying
Huntley was drafted the same year as him though, right? So you would have to pay him.
No, he wasn't taken on the first. Huntley wasn't taken the first. I think Huntley has another year on it. No, I think he has 1 more year on his deal. Don't quote me on the Huntley deal, but people are saying don't take him because he's not developing properly. And don't get me wrong, there was a time and point where before Lamar got injured, he kind of did regress a little. But if you look at it, the offensive line is depleted. There's no run. You're relying on him to be the run game. So how is he going to get better as a passer when you want him running the ball to help the run game?
Yeah. No, and the thing is too, it's he's not your traditional quarterback. He is he's a weapon because he can run. It's people try to compare him. It's well, he can't throw like Mahomes can. It's like, okay, Mahomes can't run like Lamar can. And it
Exactly.
adds a different.
It's
crazy.
There's another balance. Like,
And that's another thing with regression is Mahomes regressed pretty bad this year too for the whole like for the first like 12, 13 weeks of the season. Mahomes did not look like Patrick Mahomes.
yeah.
And I don't know. I think not wanting to pay Lamar is a crazy thing for a fan base to say.
I just think he's the reason why we win games, why we've been relevant. Because before
He's
Lamar
an MVP.
before Lamar got there, people forget we had that one chance out there. We won the Super Bowl to get to the playoffs again, or we got in the playoffs to keep going. We ended up losing off of a catch, and then we were dumpster fire for a hot minute. And you know why we were dumpster fire? Because we paid Joe Flacco so much money that we couldn't get anyone else, and he's leaps and bounds better than Joe Flacco. And I'm a Raiders fan that got to see Joe Flacco not throw no picks in the postseason, get hot, and just run the tables.
Dude, that run was crazy.
Don't get me wrong.
Brady, Manning
was crazy. But the thing was, he was anchored because the defense was so great. Lamar doesn't have 4 superstars on defense. He has 1 in Marlowe. And then maybe you say Peters is a fringe superstar. Like, I think he is, but like league-wide, people look at him as a superstar. So essentially, all he has is Marlowe.
And then you guys got the rookie away.
Yeah, he looks great.
He was really good.
He's not a superstar right now. So you're telling him, oh, hey, you got no superstars on defense other than Marlowe. You're the only superstar on offense, with your left tackle who's injured but a superstar. Do great things. No, what? Like, it's not.
It's wild.
It's not going to happen.
And by the way, your running backs both tore their ACL before the season even started. So good luck.
Yeah. You know, you're going to figure it out. Oh, and if you don't think that's any better, wait, your free safety tore his fucking bicep. So you lose him. And then your defense is a bunch of old dudes that are hanging in there, you know, but they need some rest games occasionally. No offense, but they need rest games. So
wild to not pay him.
Year recap on the Ravens. I was calling it out early on that they shouldn't have thought Lamar, if Lamar dragged this team to the playoffs, they were going to lose. Like, they weren't making the Super Bowl. Like, fans were being super naive. Like, oh no, we're going to get in there and make a lot of noise. Like, you can ask Terrence early on. I was telling him, like, bro, they should just sit him. Like, even before he got injured, I was like, bro, it doesn't make sense to even be playing him right now. So I'm glad that they took the chance when they realized towards the end of the season, like, he wasn't healthy. You saw him limp at practice, and they're like, okay, you know what? Let's just sit him out. And I'm glad they did that, because you've seen teams, the Colts, you've seen shit with the football team. The Browns. We're just gonna stay out there, bro.
Baker tore his labrum in week 2, the second half of week 2. And instead of just sitting him for like 6 weeks, when you have a serviceable backup in Case Keenum, it's like Case Keenum could have won you 4 out of 8 games or whatever.
They're identical.
Get Baker healthy. It's a whole different scenario.
I would have played Case because they're identical. So
100%. And now it's like, and now everyone in the world is like, oh, Baker's a bum. But he's been playing completely hurt since week 2.
Yeah, I don't think Baker's a bum, but I think it hurts his knock because what people in that draft class have done with Les, he has the most out of everyone. It's like, come on now. Because if I plug Lamar in that system, he's going to thrive. And I'm saying before you got rid of Odell, I plug Josh Allen. He's going to cut loose. You mean he's going to throw to Jarvis and Odell, Austin Hooper, David Njoku? Like, so I think that's where he doesn't get the pass. Yeah. I don't think he's bad. I think he has a crazy deep ball, and he's pretty accurate throwing it deep, like, it's kind of weird how he has some pretty good touch on it, and he's kind of accurate, and he knows how to he spreads the ball around. So I kind of like that about him. He's not trying to force feed nobody, but he does have some drawback to him. I think the Browns just need to realize what they're going to do going forward. Maybe they pull something like the Rams did and trade him. So they're saying they love him. Who knows? But to keep going for the halftime segment, we got who wins the league's awards this year. We got all these league awards going on. I'm going to ask Chuck, who do you got for the most valuable player?
So I got 2 answers. I think who should win it, and then who I think will win it. Okay. I think Rodgers should win it, aside from all the vaccine, all that stuff. I think he was clearly the most valuable player to his team, but I don't think he's going to win it because of voter fatigue. Like, think about like LeBron in the NBA, things like that. He just won it last year, and it's very unlikely for someone to win that back-to-back. And then again, with the media thing, people just aren't going to want to vote for him because of the whole vaccine nonsense and all that stuff. But he had the highest EPA per play and the highest completion percentage above expected. in both categories to have the highest in both of those as a quarterback is insane. Back-to-back seasons with the highest touchdown to interception ratio has never been done before. He's minus 500 to win the MVP right now in Vegas, which is insane. I don't think they're going to give it to him. I think it goes to Brady in the end because the numbers he's putting up at his age, he's like the model. He's like the golden boy for the NFL.
I think
they give it to him.
If you don't give it to Rodgers, which is insane to not give it to Rodgers, I am 10 out of 10 going Cooper Kupp. So it's either Rodgers or you go Kupp, but I got it as Rodgers. I feel like you have to give it to him.
Yeah.
Screw the vaccination thing. Like, I don't agree with what he was saying, but
as a player on the
field,
yeah,
for a quarterback to not turn the ball over is insane because that's such a problem. You know, like, okay, you're going to put our defense back out there and you got him in a bad situation. Well, wait, he doesn't turn the ball over. And I just feel like in the Brady situation, he can't be the most valuable player in that team because to me, the only difference that Brady makes for the Bucs is that in a 2-minute drill, he is insane. Him in a 2-minute drill and his decision-making was the upgrade over Jameis. So I'm saying you could throw any mid-tier quarterback because Jameis say he's like tier 3, right? Anybody in tier 2 can probably took them to a Super Bowl last year. Not won it, but got to a Super Bowl.
So the thing is with Brady is you got to include his intangibles in that though, because you got to think if Brady doesn't show up, they don't get Antonio Brown, they don't get Gronk, and then from all accounts inside the building, people are always saying, a switch flipped when Tom Brady walked in the building. It's like you can win a Super Bowl because it's Tom Brady. So the play on the field is one thing, but it's also he's valuable in the sense that he's making everyone in that building better. There was like a quote that came out from inside the building that was like the chef started cooking lunch better, the janitor started cleaning up better. Like it runs that deep with Tom Brady because you have a guy who has done it so many times. Yeah. So everyone wants to be a better version of themselves because you don't want to let Tom down.
I get that aspect of it, but I feel like then he's more of an MVP for them off the field, kind of like essentially just as being in the organization. Because I feel like on the field, what he's doing
on the field, it's for sure Rodgers though.
What he's doing on the field for how old he is insane. But I'm not gonna act like if you don't put someone else in that system with that many weapons, they're not gonna just like I'm saying those tier quarterbacks that we think are upper echelon, like you put Rodgers or Wilson, you take Allen, you take Lamar. Like I think they would do maybe. If not that much damage, maybe more. Because if you add some of the younger dudes in that offense, you're going to say, oh, bro, like, yeah, you're going to throw it as good as you do, and you can run. Like, imagine, people forget, Justin Herbert didn't run a pro-style offense at Oregon. He ran weird RPO, tricky offense that Oregon runs. And people were so low on him because they're like, oh, well, he that's not going to be concise or it's not.
I fell into that so bad.
I called
my biggest draft miss of all time.
I called people out on that. I said, bro, he's in a system that isn't beneficial for him because they won't just change the system. I said, if you see him throw the ball, how he moves, he's an athlete and he has a cannon and he knows to not take the hit. Like that's the difference. Like Lamar just runs out of bounds or you just can't really catch him. Josh Allen just lowers his shoulder and just like, hey, you're going to have to hit me. And a lot of people can't hit him. Herbert's like, oh, well, I'm about to slide or run out of bounds. Like either one, like you're not about to hit me for free. So I think just if you could have got another quarterback, maybe a younger dude in there, they would have lit it up in that offense. But Brady has, so that's not a slight Brady. I think it's like you said, what he does for that organization just as a whole is insane. Like not even on the field, like you said, the cook's cooking better. People are showing up, putting in the extra work because they know like this man, he's won this many championships for a reason. So that was dope to see. I got Rodgers for coach of the year. I have Mike Vrabel. I talked about this last episode, what he's done with Tennessee without their MVP and Derrick Henry, with Ryan Tannehill regressing. He got some defense playing lights out, and he got the running game still rolling without Derrick Henry, which is insane. So that's who I got for coach of the year. Who you got?
I also had Vrabel.
Yeah, I think that's a clear cut.
It's very clear cut because you had not only did you have the injury to Henry, you also had Julio played not very much. He just caught his first touchdown. That stat blew my mind when I heard that. He caught his first touchdown in week 18 or week 19, whatever it is.
Week 18.
Week 18. And then AJ Brown missed like 5 games this year, and he's incredible.
They lost their number one corner too that they drafted.
Yeah, that team, what Vrabel has been able to do to keep the 1 seed, especially much less make the playoffs. Forget making the playoffs. They're the 1 seed.
seed, bro. You're gonna have
That's
some time off
crazy.
for these boys too.
That's crazy to me. I think he's very clear cut. But Vegas does not think that, actually. So I'm bringing the odds into this. Zach Taylor is currently the betting favorite for the Bengals to win Coach of the Year. And while I agree he has a case, he hasn't dealt with the injury bug the way that Vrabel has. And also, you could argue the Bengals' success has been on the field. The players are doing it. They're so explosive.
Yeah, I think I give the Bengals the most credit because I give them credit because they took advantage of an opportunity. Because what if everybody in that division is not dealing with the injury bug? Yeah. Like, say you got that Bengals team got to see a full-fledged Ravens team, or you got to see Baker like full-on healthy. Like, are you going to just run through those guys?
Problem. Their schedule towards the end of the season was a murderer's row. I remember when the season
it was meant to lose.
Yeah. Oh, before the season started, I remember whatever they were to start the year, they were like crazy. They had a crazy good record for what people thought was going to happen. And I remember I was thinking, man, it's going to be the year. They're going to make the playoffs. This is for real going to happen. And then I was like, well, let me go check like what the rest of the schedule is. And I was like, oh my God, they're going to go 7-10.
Bro, I think
bad. This is really bad.
I think the AFC North as a whole just had that. Because I remember looking at the Ravens.
Oh, I was like, bro,
what?
Having to play the AFC West is a death sentence. That division is crazy. And then for the Bengals to go beat the Chiefs the way they did is what really opened my eyes. And I was like,
yeah, when they beat the Chiefs like that after losing too, that was the thing. Like they were like losing. I'm like, oh yeah, it's a wrap. Like, and then they just came back and you saw old boy Charvarius Ward, the corner from the Chiefs. He tried to hit the Gertie or something when he broke up the pass. I don't even think he broke it up.
It was overthrown.
Yeah. Bro, Chase hit him with all right, I got you, bro. 2 touchdowns on his head. I was like, man, that man is special. Crazy. LSU definitely producing an insane amount of talent. So comeback player. I got 2 people for this, but let me hear who you got for this.
So I'll stay on topic. I got Joe Shiesty. That's my boy. I think it's not even close. I mean, the only person I would even put in the same tier for comeback player of the year would be Bosa.
Great minds think alike. Bosa's my comeback. And you can't call Joey B Shiesty. Aaron Rodgers holds down the Shiesty label for what he did for his Halloween party. So that's Mr. Shiesty up in the day.
that was pretty shiesty. I'll give that to him. Nah, bro, but Joe Burrow, are you kidding me? Look at that season. I have in my notes over here that Joe should be in consideration for the MVP, much less comeback player of the year. The year that he has put up is just wild.
I think people forget that he's coming off the injury and he's the most sacked quarterback in the league. Like,
so
whoa.
His knee injury, it wasn't just torn ACL. People seem to forget that. He tore his ACL and MCL and then partially tore his meniscus and his PCL. So basically every major ligament in your knee.
Shit's hanging on like a turkey leg, bro. Like,
gross.
Somebody could dangle it and it's
gross. Dude, he's been nuts. So he is just below Rodgers in EPA per play, but he's above him in completion percentage above expected. So if you look at it on a chart, it's like Joe's like here, and then Rodgers is like
barely ahead of him.
Yeah. So they're very similar, but I would say Rodgers gets MVP over him because of the team he's doing it with, where Joe has, Jamar Chase, Tyler Boyd, T. Higgins, Joe Mixon.
I mean, Joe has the weapons.
For comeback, though.
I think Joe has the weapons, but I don't think another quarterback's doing that because obviously this is for comeback. But he's getting hit, though. That's the thing people forget. Like, they're missing. Like, he's not getting all the time in the world to throw this ball. Like, he's getting sacked the most. He's getting annihilated, and he's still getting back up. Like, imagine you're telling 44-year-old Brady, hey, get hit like this and deliver the ball.
I was just looking at it right before we came on. They had the 22nd ranked pass protection in the league this year. So, not good. Definitely not good.
That's embarrassing. So,
but yeah. So I think it's Burrow for sure.
Yeah. I wanted to go Bosa, but I get the claim for Burrows because if Burrow's probably going to get slided to MVP. But if Joey B doesn't get it, as much as I don't like Nick Bosa the person, the Nick Bosa the athlete is next level. Like, you could probably say he's better than his brother because his brother can't stay healthy. So you could probably be like, yo, I'd take Nick over his brother. Which is insane to say because Joey Bosa is amazing. But I think the problem he deals with the Chargers, none of them can stay healthy, and they're not deep in positions. Like, they have no depth. So, like, he's playing outside linebacker right now. Granted, the scheme I think changed, but he's not an outside linebacker.
It's really hard to watch that Chargers team. I love Herbert. He's like, in terms of how we were talking about, I like to pick a player and then go off that and root for them. I love Herbert, so I love rooting for them. But man, oh man, watching that team is so frustrating. People are talking about the timeout at the end is costing them that because they were going to run the clock out. That had nothing to do with it.
No,
they were kicking that field goal regardless.
You were still missing tackles, and they were going to try to kick it, but
they gave up 17 yards in 2 plays. In obvious, they were not throwing that ball. The 2 last plays, they were not throwing that ball, no matter what. Obvious run.
If you would have just played good defense, it would have just been a tie. Like, would have ended right there, tie.
Mm-hmm. It would have. So the last play, that last run play, Staley takes that timeout to get his preferred personnel on the field. He gets a look at how they're lining up. And it's like, and you give up a 10-yard run coming out of a timeout with your preferred personnel on the field. How are you giving up a 10-yard run to lose the game? It goes from a 57-yard field goal, which in their defense, Daniel Carlson's probably burying a 57-yarder too. The dude's lights out. But
yeah, I feel way more comfortable with you having to kick that shit 57 to send me home.
Yeah, for sure. Over 47, and the dude's never missed in that stadium before. Like, you cannot let that dude get any closer than he already is.
Yeah,
your season is on the line. Who's to say they don't stop him at the 57-yarder? They keep him at the line of scrimmage. Clock's running down. Now all of a sudden the Raiders coach isn't thinking, maybe we don't risk missing this 57, giving the ball to the Chargers back, and then they get 30 seconds to go kick their field goal.
Yeah, like maybe we just take the tie right now.
Yeah. Because you don't want to give the ball back to Herbert with 30 seconds and 1 timeout to get 30 yards or whatever for their field goal.
It's crazy when you think about it in that aspect, but I don't know.
If you get back on track, they'll comeback player.
Yeah, comeback player. Offensive
Burrow or Bosa would both. I'd be happy with either one.
Yeah, I think it has to be one of them. Offensive player of the year for me. I know who I'm taking because he's not gonna win MVP because people are so fixated on making the MVP a quarterback. Like, yes, we picked a quarterback, but I only picked a quarterback so I wouldn't be let down because I know they're gonna pick a quarterback.
Like, I think we got the same answer.
Yeah, I'm on board with them having to pick an MVP for each position at this point. But I got
for sure
from the Rams.
Yep.
He's having an insane season. Probably be having a better season if Matthew Stafford didn't miss some throws here and there like he'd be doing. But wild. I think he's. And I don't think talent-wise he's the best person, but if you look at his route running, how he's able to create separation, and I think he reminds me of Thielen, but he's faster. Like, he's a little bit faster than Thielen. And then just the play style of Sean McVay, the play calling, it's perfect. People get mad because Sean McVay runs to the end zone when his boys score a touchdown. Honestly, I love it because it shows he's younger. He's into it, and as a player, if I just scored a touchdown, I'm celebrating with my team. I look over, my coach is there, high five. Yo, what's up?
Yeah, that's dope. That's dope.
So I think you got to go Cooper Kupp. You said you're going Cooper.
He's like real quick. He's like how people talk about white receivers. They always use the same things to describe them. He's shifty. He's hardworking. He's gritty. He knows the playbook. He's deceptively quick, sneakily athletic, great route running. But unironically, Cooper Kupp is actually those things. That's so the weird thing. He's actually quick. His separation. I think he's always open. Always open.
People talk about Hunter Renfrow, and I think Hunter Renfrow is good. Don't get me wrong, but I don't think Hunter Renfrow. If you told me to pick Hunter Renfrow over them in any type of category, I'm taking Anthony over him. I'm taking Kupp over him, and not even hesitating to take him. But it is nice to seeing what Cooper Kupp was able to do this year.
Crazy good.
Shattering records. I wish that off topic that they would have shelved all the records from the 17-game season and just started fresh with the 18-game season. But then you have people like Jefferson and Chase that are smashing the records in 16. Hey, I already broke the record before you added this game in for the 18th game or whatever. So moving along, defensive player of the year. I think last year he kind of got slighted a little bit, but I get why Aaron Donald won it. I got TJ Watt. Man, it's insane. I don't have no words for it. It's kind of crazy. Who you got, Chuck?
So for me, I think the Defensive Player of the Year award should just be renamed the Aaron Donald Award until he's not in the league anymore.
Again?
Yeah.
The thing is,
I know I have in my notes, I have voter fatigue may catch him too, like I did with Rodgers. It's hard to win that back to back. But that dude is so crazy. in what he does to an offensive line. It's like he's getting double teamed every play, and there's nothing you can do about it. He's still going to sack your quarterback. He's still going to blow up your runs. What do you do about that? TJ Watt did have an incredible year, but Aaron Donald is just the definition of game changing.
I think you're the first person I've seen bring up AD to win it again. Like, that's kind of crazy. I kind of like that you brought up AD.
He's so incredibly good. I was looking at it was, I forgot what the chart was cross-referenced with, but it was like pass block win rate win against pass block and win against run block. And Aaron Donald is like up in the top right corner or whatever. Like, he wins against pass block and wins against rush block the most in both categories. Whereas some players are like great against pass block, bad against rush block. Aaron Donald is just consistently good at both. And I can't imagine voting for anyone until he stops doing what he's doing.
I feel
but
it.
I get the case for TJ Watt because, again, it's like voter fatigue. You don't want to vote for the same guy every year.
Yeah, but I feel you on that one. I feel like good. This is actually weird. I feel like this year for rookies, it's clear cut and obvious. I have Jamar Chase for offense, and then defense is Michael Parsons. I just think there's no questions. For early on, I wanted to go Patrick Surtain, but then Micah just kept doing all this insane shit. I said, okay, well, I gotta just go you. Like, at first I was like, oh, I might go Patrick, and then I was like, damn, bro, Micah's still snapping, bro. Like, I guess I can't go.
Crazy good. I actually have in my notes, I literally have Micah Parsons or Pat Surtain, and then in little quotations, which one do you value more? When you're building a team, it's like you either get a dude who's a lights out pass rusher or a corner that you put on a wide receiver one and he's not touching the ball the whole game.
Oh, I value the corner way more. I feel like the corner is it's way too valuable because you look at it, there's going to be times where someone's going to catch Michael Parsons and he's not going to be able to blitz. Like, he's going to have to drop in coverage like how he did against the Bucs.
Mm-hmm.
He's not stopping Gronk. Like, those tight ends where you're going to have to cover him. And I feel like he's going to grow and probably get better at that. But like right now, like someone could pick on that aspect of the game and be like, bro. But it's weird because they send him damn near every time. They're like, bro, Sky's
which is weird because that's not what he was drafted for either. He was drafted as a linebacker.
He was drafted as a linebacker, but they didn't know how to use him. And
he's crazy good.
What's his face got injured? DeMarcus Ware broke his leg. Or DeMarcus Lawrence. He broke his leg. So they're like, oh, well, we're just gonna put you on the edge kind of deal.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. If I'm building a team, I'm taking the corner first, which makes me lean towards giving it to Pat because corner is definitely the hardest position to play on defense.
Bro, I think corner is hardest position in the NFL, period.
No, it's definitely quarterback. It's got to be quarterback, right? With the amount that you have to process.
No, is it tough? Yeah, but I think corner is way harder, bro, because the quarterback and the receiver know what route they're running. You don't know what route they're running. You don't know. Sometimes the corner doesn't look for the ball, so you don't know where the ball placement is. Receivers are getting good at faking corners, like with the faking their hands or just planting and going. You see both of them lose the ball in the air, and the receiver stops. So the corner's like, oh, because he's just following the receiver. And the receiver just picks back up. You see the stop and go. It's tough, bro. Especially
the only thing I'll give corners over quarterback is that the rules are very obviously set up to favor the quarterback and the wide receiver. So that makes it harder in that regard. But like, I think as far as your, what would be the word for it? Like technically, like your technicalities or whatever, fundamentals, quarterback is just like, you got to read defense. You got to throw the ball. It's like everything. And it's the most important for sure. But yeah. And now after sitting here talking about it with you, I think I'm going to change my vote from Micah to Pat. I think PS2
is hard, bro. He's
my
like
defensive
that
rookie.
Too. He's definitely like that. Like
crazy.
I'm like, damn, bro. Like he's really like that. Like what is going on? So definitely.
He looks right in the Denver jersey too. Like, how some players just look right in their uniform.
It fits him. Like everything.
He should be there.
Like, yes.
Yeah.
I really wish like somehow he would have fell to Baltimore, but there's no way in hell he's fallen. There's no way that he's an absolute talent. So that's what we have for our halftime segment, the awards we're giving out. There is an award I want to mention. It's not an award, but somehow Derek Carr needs an award. I don't know what fucking award you give him.
Stop it.
But for everything going on in Raiders Nation, y'all better give him whatever award you could. You got to give him an award because I don't think anybody's handling that situation like he's handling it. But
that's fair.
Yeah, that's how you have to give it to him.
And you're not going to like this? He's on my bum list. I think he stinks. I think Derek Carr costs that Raiders team outside of his intangibles, like his leadership. He keeps that building together as it is right now. but man, some of the balls that dude throws, specifically, I want to call one out in particular, the ball over Darren Waller's head that was a go-ahead touchdown in overtime. You could have ended the game right there. Like, they ended up winning, so it's going to get overlooked. But he missed Darren Waller, who had like 3 steps on his defender in the corner of the end zone. Like, could have just, it was right there. And he put it like 5 yards over his head. And I'm just sitting there like, this dude stinks.
I don't think he's a bum. I just don't think he's in that upper echelon of quarterbacks.
Well, when I say bum, my definition of bum is I wouldn't pay him. If his contract's coming up, which it is, I can't pay that dude. I think you get the same team or better with Mariota.
That's an interesting point. I mean, but then it begs different, like how we talk about with Tom with the leadership.
Yeah, that's the problem.
So maybe you won't get that leader, So I think that's the only downside of it. But who knows? Raiders, make sure you get him some type of trophy. Big shout out to my boy Nos. He's a
contract.
Yeah, that's another thing. So figure it out. Moving on to the fourth quarter. We had the Super Bowl picks at the beginning of the season, midway of the season. I doubled down on the Browns like a dumbass. So I was totally wrong about that. I picked the Browns going against the Cheeseheads. I still got the Cheeseheads going. If the Cheeseheads let someone come to Lambeau in the frozen tundra and beat them again, and don't get me wrong, Brady damn near all last year in the playoffs threw the game away. Up until the Super Bowl was throwing the game away, like for a team to take the game from him and beat him.
They barely beat the football team in Tampa.
The football team, the same, like he was throwing the game away. Like, hey, can one of y'all please beat me? So
really bad. I
got the Packers, and I'm gonna pick the Bills. The only reason I'm picking the Bills is because I don't think the Chiefs defense is gonna just be rolling like how they were. I think they kind of got their shit kicked in by the Bengals, and then they're gonna see some offenses. They don't really like to play too physical. Like they really are. It's really Chris Jones making it turn. Melvin Ingram's playing good for him, but I don't know if they can get through the gauntlet. I think the Bills are healthy enough in the aspect. Yes, they just lost Tre'Davious White, but they are still healthy everywhere else. And they probably got one of the better quarterbacks in the playoffs. Like, agreed. I don't trust Ben. I don't trust Tannehill. And I wanted to pick the Titans so bad. Like, I wanted to pick the Titans, but I don't trust Tannehill. So I was like,
see, that's where we differ. I'm a Tanny truther. I think that dude.
Have you seen how my man been playing this year, though? That's why.
Well, it goes back to the injuries, right? He's been playing, no Julio, barely any AJ Brown, no Derrick Henry.
Bro, but my man.
And he's not in a system that's really set up for him to thrive either. That is a very run-first offense, as it should be when you have someone like Derrick Henry.
Bro, my man got, 17 touchdowns of 14 picks?
Not great. Okay.
You get what I'm saying?
Down year.
That's where the trust is faulted. I'm like,
but the dude can ball. He is what I like to put in the category of gamer, not the guy you want to have to play against. But I also don't think they're going to the Super Bowl. So all that's for nothing.
Okay. So I got the Bills. I think for me, the people under the most pressure to win this year, before you tell me your picks, it is Rodgers, Stafford, Josh Allen, and I forget who else I picked. I picked somebody else.
I thought I saw you say something about Dak.
Dak. So Dak was my fourth. They need to win the Super Bowl this year. Rodgers add that list, maybe doesn't need to, but it would be really ideal to win this year.
I'd put him in the category of need to.
Okay.
Because after so many, at least get to the Super Bowl, dude. Stop losing NFC Championship games in Lambeau.
Yeah. So those 4 dudes need to get there. The only person in this playoffs that it won't hurt them if they lose is Tom Brady. That's it. Tom Brady.
I think there's some quarterbacks that it's just like, okay, good, you made it there.
Yeah, nice. Like Tom can hit a first round exit, and I'm gonna make fun of Tampa, but it's not gonna ding his Hall of Fame. Anything Tom has going on, it's not gonna knock him at all. So,
not a chance, especially with the way that secondary's been playing this whole season. Awful.
Boy, so who you got going to Super Bowl?
So to that point about the secondary being awful, my picks to start the season, I had a rematch. I had Bucks Chiefs. I just thought they were so far and away better than everyone else that it was like I didn't see how someone was going to catch up to it. And then as I was
started watching and seeing it,
I was like, well, first of all, I think the Chiefs defense is very bad. I think they've tightened it up for sure over the last 2 months or so, but I don't think it's sustainable, especially now that you're getting into playoff football. You're going to be playing against the best teams in the league. And most of their success, they are the best team in the league against the 22 to 32 ranked teams in the league. So most of their success has come against the bottom 10. I just don't think that they're the same Chiefs from a couple years ago. I don't think Pat Mahomes is the same guy he was. For whatever reason, that offense has just not looked good.
I think it's they're missing their number 2 receiver, and also
need one.
They need one, but then his decision making has been kind of bad this year. But I think it's just when people are trying to say Pat was so much better than everyone. Mm-hmm. And don't get me wrong, that Super Bowl helped, but people didn't take into account how bad he played in both those Super Bowls. I'm talking the loss to Tampa and damn sure the Niners game, bro. Like, yes, the Tampa one, you could chalk it up like, bro, everyone's injured. Like, who's protecting this man? All right, I'll give you that. That Niners one, oh my God, he looked awful.
And the thing, you know what's crazy is the biggest Pat Mahomes haters are Chiefs fans. Like, not that they think he's bad, but I've noticed, because I go to their subreddit sometimes. I'll just check out random teams. I'll be on Reddit and I'll see on the NFL, like in the comments, people complaining about their team. So I'll check out their subreddit, see what's going on in the whole fan base. Yeah. And I only see Chiefs fans. Not that all of them are saying this or it's a majority or whatever, but I see enough of them that I tried to watch for it this year. And the amount of turnover-worthy plays that man has is he throws the ball into defenders' bread baskets, and they just drop it. But he's so lucky.
He was doing that since Texas Tech. That was the one knock on him. Like he was playing big game to win or lose. Like he's playing to win or I'm losing it all. You know.
Yeah,
I feel like that's
which is respectable on some level, but you're in the men's league now. You're in the NFL. It's like people are gonna start catching those balls eventually.
Yeah, if he could just learn to just nickel and dime people better. But I also think it hurts them not having another weapon, you know?
Like for sure. And with all that said, I still think I have him as my number 3 quarterback in the NFL right now. Yeah. So he's obviously still great. And then the reason I don't have the Bucs anymore is because I think that they needed AB too much. I think AB was the best wide receiver on that team.
You get it.
I don't even think it was close, really.
How he gets it, bro?
Yeah, bro. He's so good. He's so good for all the off the field problems, for all the injuries. The dude can play ball.
People forget
flat out.
There's something to say about a dude that runs really good routes who doesn't drop the ball and get separation.
Yeah.
That's next level. It's not next level. That's a basic thing for a receiver to have, but he doesn't mess up in that line of it. He's like, you want me to run good routes? Easy. Got you.
And Tom likes him. Tom likes throwing him the ball because of that. He has separation. He knows that ball's not getting dropped. And now he doesn't have that anymore. Now, Cyril, Grayson, and Tyler Johnson. Tyler Johnson was one of my favorite receivers coming out of that draft. But they dropped the ball. That's the problem. They're both speed demons. They got Scotty Miller, speed demon too. They all dropped the ball though. So it's going to come down to
Scotty ain't these dudes ain't healthy either. So
yeah. They just got Shaq Barrett back, which is good for the defense. But I don't think it's going to be enough to get him to the Super Bowl, though.
So who you got?
So I got Packers-Bengals. Now the Bengals pick, I know a little bit of a home pick. It's a little bit with the heart, but hear me out. Hear me out. Listen to their road to the Super Bowl. In my head,
it is easy,
right? It is easy. They got a very lucky draw on their seating. I was looking at the bracket earlier because coming into like when you gave me the topics and I'm looking at it and I'm like, okay, I pulled up the bracket and I'm like, I went into it thinking I got the Titans. That was like my pre-thought. Clear cut. Yeah. And then I look at the bracket and it's like, okay, Pittsburgh's losing to Kansas City. Easy. And then you got the Chiefs playing the Bills. And I don't think either one of those teams are clear cut. Like the Bengals just beat the Chiefs and the Bills aren't better than the Chiefs, even though they stomped them this year when they played. I think the Bills defense is terrible. And then I think the Bengals are going to stomp the Raiders out, which then puts them against the Titans. The Titans are banged up. Henry's still rusty. I think it's going to be, and they're just too explosive for that defense. They just lost their corner. I think, and then it comes down to an AFC championship game where you got either the Chiefs or the Bills. And I think that they could beat either of them. And I would take that swag and that confidence that team is playing with. I think it'll do it. I really do believe it.
I think the only knock I would say that you have for the Bills is you can't count them out because this is going to have to be the year that Josh proves he deserved that bag. Like you lost
Agreed.
last year to the Chiefs in the championship game.
Mhm.
So now it's like, okay, well, you're here again. And there's some teams not there that could have gave you a problem. Like imagine you see the Ravens healthy, or somehow if the Chargers get in, and your defense, like how do we deal with Herbert? And now, like you said, like how the playoffs look for some teams, like if you wake up, it looks like on the AFC side, it's like, oh no, you can make it. Like that's why I kind of get the Bengals pick, because like how the seating works is they wake up and we can get there. Like they can get there. That's why I feel the same for the Titans and the Bills, but I just don't feel as the Chiefs will do it. That's the only weird thing.
I really don't feel the Chiefs. And then the Bills or the Titans, like you said, those are my other two those are the two I think the most realistic that are like expected to kind of go.
Yeah.
The problem I have with the Bills is that their defense can't stop a nosebleed.
Not on the running attack, no.
With the run, yeah. They can't stop a run.
You're not throwing on them like insane.
Well, now with Trey White out, it's like, who's going to stop? If you have T. Higgins, Jamar Chase, Tyler Boyd running routes on you, who's stopping all three of them?
The thing is that why the Bills are so good on pass defense, they got two safeties. They got Micah and
that's true.
Boyd. And a lot of teams don't have a luxury of that. Like, hey, I got two safeties. I got Johnson in the slot at corner, and then I got White following whoever. So I feel like having two safeties does let you mask that in a way. So it is kind of neat.
The problem I have with the Bills offense is every time that there's like a big game for the Bills where it's like their national TV, all the eyes are on them. Whenever I'm placing bets, I love placing player prop bets. That's like that's my favorite thing to do in football. Yeah. And I'll go through and I'll look at their players and I'm like, these guys kind of suck. Like you have Stephon Diggs and he's amazing. You have Josh Allen, he's amazing. But then beyond those two dudes, it's like Isaiah McKenzie, Cole Beasley, Devin Singletary, Dawson Knox, who I think is very slept on. Shout out to him. He's made me the most money out of any player. Him and Austin Hooper, both. Those are my dudes. But he's not like a weapon.
Imagine if the Vikes send Dalvin Cook to the Bills. Like I was thinking about the other day, because they need a run game.
That would be a problem.
He could thrive in a rushing attack that wasn't centralized on him, like having to run the ball. Like
he can catch too. He can run routes.
Exactly.
That would be a problem.
Yeah.
But that's why I don't think the Bills, and then I think the Titans are just too banged up. They've gotten too lucky or whatever. Maybe it's not luck. I don't know. I just think it's going to catch up to them.
Go play that defense. I feel like a lot of those teams are going to get in there. Like to play that defense, they're playing real stingy. Even losing that corner, like they've been great. That's played top teams and beat top. Like that's the thing that for me it was so tough not to pick them. But I just really couldn't trust Ryan Tannehill in the playoffs. I was like, bro, they beat top teams, but you're going to tell me like, hey, it's playoff time, and you cannot be throwing these interceptions. Much like how Matthew Stafford, like, hey, bro, I need you to not throw these interceptions.
Dude, that's why I'm not picking the Rams. If it wasn't for Matt Stafford playing the way he's been playing, I'd be picking the Rams out of the NFC for sure. But
I feel you on that. So who's the most exciting first round matchup for you?
Oh, man, that one's not even close in my opinion. That Cowboys-Niners game is – so I think the Bengals-Raiders game is going to be exciting because it's going to be high scoring and it's two young teams going at it, and it's going to be dope. But that Cowboys-Niners game, I don't like – how is either defense going to stop either offense?
Hey, you know what's funny? You got the Cowboys and the Niners. I got the Cardinals and the Rams.
That's going to be a really good one too.
It's going to be insane because
divisional games in the wild card round are always bangers.
Maybe Nuke comes back and plays, so then you're like, oh shit, bro. But I got it. The weird thing for me is you got that as your game, the most exciting. I got the Cowboys taking the upset to the Niners. You said how are the Niners going to beat the Cowboys? That pass rush is insane.
It is.
I don't.
So what's funny though is like you would think, right, that the Niners would be the favorite in that game. They're not. They're the betting favorite right now. The Cowboys are. They're -3.
I would actually put on money, and I don't really bet. Like I bet on FanDuel, but then just like on players. Like I would low-key put in a bet for because last night I missed it. I wanted to put in the bet for Georgia, and I was like, bro, put in the bet.
I was big on Bama last night.
And I was big on Bama. And I saw a buddy of mine won $4,000. I saw another one of my homeboys won 6. I was like, man, you should have put the bet in for Georgia. And it's crazy.
But
So
I have my upset was the 49ers, just because I saw that they are the underdogs. And I was like, why are the 49ers the underdogs in that game? I think that the Niners are going to stomp the Cowboys out. Like,
so
I don't.
You have the Cowboys as a upset, getting upset?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh.
At home. I think the 49ers are going to go into Jerry World down there.
All of them, bro. Who's going to guard Deebo Samuel, bro?
That was my main thing. That was my main thing. Who on that team? Trayvon Diggs isn't guarding Deebo Samuel, bro. It's just not happening.
But he's not stopping him. So you're really hoping that Jimmy G throws an interception at him. Like
and then like
we're not even saying
Shanahan will be too smart. He'll be too smart.
Who's going to guard Kittle? I'm sitting here thinking okay, all right, say the Cowboys say the Niners defense slows them down, like the Cowboys, make them settle for kicks, right? So I'm like, all right, they settle for kicks. But what's going to happen when the Niners start scoring? Because Jimmy G likes throwing the ball to Kittle. And Deebo Samuels lines up in the backfield. I'm honestly on the fence about this. If Raheem Mostert isn't healthy, that fast back, I think he's pretty nice. Like, I think
he's good.
If he's not healthy, I would low-key go get like an Allen Robinson or put him to try to get Calvin Ridley and put fucking Samuel at like running back, like damn near 60% of the time.
But Deebo is just like that, bro. That dude,
bro, I see it. I'm like, bro, how is this even
He
working?
fits that gamer mold that I was talking about before. He is a dude that I don't want to see lined up anywhere on that field on any play. And then you also have Brandon Ayuk too, who
they don't really use Ayuk as much as I feel like they should.
He's had a down year for sure, but just even lining him up outside, you gotta know, like, he can take the top off your defense any play. He's gonna just run past anyone. So you got Deebo, Kittle, Ayuk, the whole stable of backs they have, and then a quarterback who's not gonna like lose you the game. I don't think Jimmy G's the guy. Like, you don't have to worry about him.
Bro, Trent Williams ain't giving up no sacks, bro.
No. It's just like, but that's why I think Niners are going to win that game.
Yeah.
I don't see it being close either. The fact that they're underdogs blows my mind.
I low-key might get in some betting action for that because I just don't. It
doesn't make sense. You're giving me 3 points on the better team. I think hey, maybe they know something we don't know.
Yeah, they are
typically better. Vegas does.
Vegas normally typically knows something that everybody else doesn't know.
That blew my mind when I saw that.
Yeah.
And then there was one other one that didn't make sense to me. I can't remember. Oh, yeah. The Cardinals being 4-point favorite or 4-point underdogs at the Rams. I don't think that game's a 4-point game. That's a wild line, especially if Nuke comes back. I think that's more of like a pick 'em or like a 2-point game, whatever.
I don't think
they think that the Rams are a lot better than I think they are, for sure. With Matt Stafford playing the way.
Well, I mean, maybe because they're not having to play. If they were playing they had to see the Niners, like the Rams had to see the Niners. I'd be like, oh, good God, But maybe because they're going.
The Niners are kind of my dark horse in the NFC. If it's not going to be the Packers, I could see the Niners doing some.
If the Niners go back, I don't think you can move off of Jimmy G. If he takes them to another Super Bowl, bro, I don't think you can just let the man.
The problem with that is you just mortgaged the franchise
guard for Trey
to go get Trey Lance.
But then do you trade Trey? You know what I mean? Because what if Jimmy gets you to a bowl and plays good? Because we got to think, we were only a Jimmy Garoppolo throw away from him being sending the Chiefs packing.
Yeah.
So
and he's the most efficient quarterback on third down in the NFL. Like,
and he wins games
when it matters.
He wins.
He's a winner,
bro.
He's a winner.
Like, if I'm the Niners, if he even gets us to the dance or even the NFC Championship game, I'd settle for that. He gets us there, I'm gonna be like, you know what? I'm gonna sell Trey to the best bidder.
Because I mean, you got to remember too, Bill Belichick wanted to keep Jimmy G over Tom Brady, and Bill Belichick's not a dumbass. Like, he knew something. He saw something in Jimmy G.
Hey, he a dumbass at picking receivers, like Terrence.
Yeah.
said,
Oh yeah.
Not pick receivers, but in the aspect of keeping Jimmy, if Jimmy somehow does it, I think if you're a Niners fan, Niners owner, like John has to look at it like, okay, well, I know we said Trey's the future, but he's not that old. So Maybe we get a backup quarterback. There's going to be teams that would go get Trey Lance. Like
For sure.
You told Atlanta, hey, I'm selling Trey Lance. They'd probably send you Ridley and a pick.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, let's swap it out.
And that's what's crazy too is Arthur Smith. This one surprised me. Arthur Smith came out and said that he for sure wants Matt Ryan as his quarterback for next season.
They can't because the cap. They have to do the next. So I don't think he wants him. I think he's like, hey, I don't want to have to pay this money after we either cut you or trade you. And I think that's just another deal. It reminds me of when Flacco got overpaid. Like people were just overpaying these subpar quarterbacks.
Because you need a quarterback and he's not terrible. So you got to pay him.
So you're like, okay. Like Kirk Cousins got away with highway murder. That man, bro.
His contract's crazy.
Bro, any other quarterback that we think's a top tier dude, like that dude with those weapons, defense would be playing as bad as they want. They'd be like, oh, bro, come stop us.
The thing is, I think the Vikings, I don't see how they had the season that they had. I guess at the Zimmer, I don't know. It had to be something. He got fired.
I think it's because defense, they really don't have nobody. Like they got
that team,
Hendricks, and they got Hunter, and then
R.I.P. Patrick Peterson, bro. That dude needs to hang him up.
Yeah,
that is the most sad end to a career I've ever watched.
He needed to hang it up last year when I watched DK Metcalf just So and Patrick Peterson was insane. So like we've seen elite highlights.
Yeah, like one of the GOATs.
Yeah, and you're just like now you're seeing it like this. You're like, bro, like please just stop. Like please just stop getting cooked. Because once DK did him like that, I was like, bro, he got so tired. Like,
dude, that's when I started placing bets on receiver yard props. As soon as I saw that they were playing, like if I saw they were lining up against Patrick Peterson, it was like, okay, I'm taking that dude's yards for the week. He's gonna burn him. Like the dude he's a bozo now, and it's weird to watch because he was like one of my favorite players in the NFL growing up. Which is weird to say because it's like
I don't think he's a bozo. I don't think he's a bozo, but it's time to let the ship sail and hang it up. But we got to give a big shout out to Chuck for stopping by with the guys. Well, with the guys
for sure.
Tonight. Thank you for coming on the show. You got anything you want to let people know, shout out, or just talk a little shit on?
Who Day is going to be the Bengals in the Super Bowl. I'm telling you. Other than that, thanks for having me on. Nothing else I really got to shout out. Podcast, TikTok coming soon, but nothing yet. But it's going to be Sneaky Athlete is going to be the name of it. So look out for that at some point. Not yet, though. But yeah, thanks for having me on, bro.
Yeah, no problem. You need to tell your boys who whatever they want to say. Like I thought who they was the Saints, whatever y'all want to say. You guys are. Y'all don't win this year. It's a wrap because next year it's back to business, bro.
Not a chance, bro. We're gonna go get a tight end, and then it's a problem.
You need to get left tackles and tackles. What you mean get a tight end?
Screw a tackle. We don't need it. We need more weapons, and that's that.
All right. Well, thank you guys for tuning in, listening in. Just give us a follow on Twitter, Cover 4 with the guys is where you can find us. You can find us on YouTube. We're there. We got a Facebook page that's about to be up here pretty soon. And yeah, just holler at us. Let us know what you think. We'll be back next week. We got a special guest. We got a good old boy that can't bowl. He's mad because he hasn't beat my high score in bowling. I bowled a 194 one time and then just bowled a 199 this past weekend. And he's mad he can't clip that score. He's beat me, but he can't clip the high score. So I'm going to hold that over his head. And thank you guys for tuning in. I hope you have a good night, and we'll see you later.